I got an email a couple of weeks ago from a company called ModRetro inviting me to take a look at their new evolved Game Boy handheld called the Chromatic. And look, I don't have that much experience with Game Boy. I was really, by the time the Game Boy came out, I had my Lynx and then I moved on to home computers, but I'm always interested in looking at modern handhelds and what they're doing with our vintage games. So I said, sure, I'll be happy to take a look. What they sent me is something that I was not really expecting and has some surprises. Hey there, welcome back to GenXGrownUp. I am John, I am a GenXGrownUp. Thank you for taking the time to check out this video. And yeah, the ModRetro Chromatic is at its heart and soul a Game Boy. It has the dimensions of a Game Boy, it has a screen with the exact pixel density of a Game Boy, but it's backlit in full color. And what it's able to do is play games that are for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, but also enhanced games that ModRetro is putting out. And as I said, all of that looked good on paper, and I'm like, so fine is this evolved Game Boy. I'd heard of the analog, of course, but when I started reading the specs of what this thing has and what it can do, I was double on board. Let me show you. And the first thing that struck me when I pulled this out of the shipping box was how uncharacteristically whimsical this ModRetro packaging is for the Chromatic. You know, I'm so used to everything these days being in like a slick, glossy black thing with, you know, gold accents or whatever. And they're really doubling down on just fun, just the simplicity of the Chromatic. We can flip it over here and that artwork continues, and inside too, which I'll show you in a second. You know, and it just covers the overall features of what the ModRetro has, which we're going to talk about. But look, when you get this guy open, it's got a little magnetic latch here. Look at this. It's just fun. It's just, it's just cute. You know, all the yards look like school-lined ruled notebook paper. You got some math problems over here. There's that S we all drew, and there's some little superhero in the corner. Anyway, I just find it really cute because they're trying to harken back to the fun you might have had if you had had a Game Boy growing up, and, you know, probably had it in school when you weren't supposed to and stuff like that. So, all right, so let's get to the unit, which, by the way, nice presentation. I went for this black one, which they call the, they call it the Midnight edition of the Chromatic. So not black, it's midnight. You know, so it's really not black. It's this kind of like this gray. Ooh, by the way, we'll get to this in a second, but it's cool to the touch because it's not plastic, which is interesting. We'll get to in a second. So so we'll pull this out. So here's our little unit, which we'll get to. They're very hot on getting the firmware updated. I can see there's a QR code here, and there's one over here as well. So we'll do that in a second. And then inside, so they have the enhanced version of Tetris here, the Chromatic version of Tetris, as well as their own branded batteries, which you can use any batteries, AA batteries. They just include, it's nice they include them. So let's start with a tour of the Chromatic. We'll get this plastic taken off in just a second. I mentioned it was cold to the touch, so this is not plastic. This is a metal body on this thing. And I thought aluminum. When I looked on their site, it says it's a magnesium. So I remember in science class they threw magnesium into water and exploded. So I'm guessing it's some kind of magnesium alloy, so it doesn't explode when it hits water, of course. And the layout is just what I remember from playing with a Game Boy. Everything is where it's supposed to be, the B and the A, the select and the start, everything at the little angle like it's supposed to be. And in fact, the screen, so this is interesting, and they're advertising the screen is the only pixel perfect 160 by 144 backlit, readable screen that you can read outside. So it doesn't have to scale or anything. It's the exact number of pixels you would have had on the screen for your original Game Boy or Game Boy Color, which I can imagine. Look, you have pixel averaging and stuff. You know, we've seen on some products where you have some artifacts because of averaging and letters aren't readable, illegible, right? So shouldn't have any problem with that here. We could try it with Tetris, and they even added another game, which we'll look at in a minute. So that's across the front. Then around back here, you have the cartridge slot, of course, little cutouts here so you can put a lanyard or like one of those loops, you know, the wrist loops on here, either side, left or right, depending on whether you're a righty or a lefty. Then you have the battery door, and I gotta keep reminding you, because you can't see this or feel this, this is metal, right? So like, right? I keep forgetting how nice and smooth and cool to the touch it is because clink, clank, clank, because it's not plastic like so many other consumer devices are. Let's flip around here on the side then. We have the volume roller And then we have the menu button that will be accessing, you know, chromatic specific functions inside of some cartridges, or probably maintenance of the menu. I haven't powered it on yet. We'll see. Around here, the left-hand side, you have that link cable port, you know, for the wire you would run between Game Boys to play multiplayer games across multiple devices. Down here in the bottom, 3.5mm headphone jack, USB-C power, not just power in. This is actually power, and also you can plug it in for streaming. For video and audio out as a source, which I read, which is pretty cool. There's that down-firing speaker right where it would be. Up here on the top, you have the power on-off switch. And then over here, this is a little IR port, because some Chromatic games allow you to connect. Now, of course, you have the plug on the side, right, for the wire, but some Chromatic games allow you to connect to other players via the IR port rather than through a wire, which I think is cool. So that's just kind of baked in for games that support it. Let's go ahead and get this protective film off of the screen. Now this is, I think this model is the Gorilla Glass model. There's a higher tier that you can get that has the sapphire glass, if you'd prefer that. And why don't we go ahead and put the batteries in it too. Now I haven't put a cartridge in it yet at all, so no cartridge, but we're gonna fire it up. Okay, just a plain white screen. Then we have a menu button on the side here, so let me hit that button. Okay, so then we go into the menu. So this is all of just, I guess, system settings. So we can set our brightness, silent mode on or off. Okay, display frame blend. Guess I could read the manual, see what that's about. Which, by the way, no manual to throw away in this package, as I often do. The manual's fully online, so you can always go and reference it, and it's updating. So here you can have options, raw color or corrected color when you're doing streaming out, transitions, classic or smooth, low battery indicator, controls, allow all directions, or ignore diagonals. Oh, okay, that's... Oh, wait, there's more. Wait, there's more down here. What do we got? So if you hold down all these together, like menu plus left or right on the D-pad will adjust brightness, so up and down. Oh, okay. Reset emulation, menu, B, A, start. So I hit all the buttons with menu. All right. All right, so more stuff in there. And then finally, system. Firmware, so we're on 3.2. I think we're going to update that before we play a game, just to make sure it shows this in its best possible light. What player are you, I guess, right? So when you're linked up, I expect that's going to be which player are you, and then you number it down like that. And then there's my serial number. So if anybody's logging those, there's my serial number. What do you say we try to update this firmware then? I used that QR code, downloaded their system update software, and I'm just going to plug it right into my computer, and hopefully it'll just auto-recognize. Oh, there it goes. Checking my firmware now. Thinking. An update's available. Okay, so I'm just going to mash on the update button. One moment, please. The display, yeah, it did turn off, so I'm just going to wait a second. I think what I read is it could take about 1 to 3 minutes or so, so I will, of course, fast forward through this and get you on to the result. And now it says, one last thing, disconnect the cable from your Chromatic, pop out the batteries and wait a few seconds. All right, fair enough. I'll do that. I have done as requested. Now I'm just going to plug it back in, and hopefully it'll recognize that I have the most updated firmware. And it does. And while you're here, look, you can look around. The link to the manual is right here. It goes right online, checks the manual. You can come over here, click below to check for updates to your games, save data, backup, or store from the internal memory of the Chromatic. So this is more than just a firmware update tool. This is a companion tool, it looks like. And then a whole bunch of links to verify, a link to the manual, firmware change logs, and all that kind of stuff. That's nice. It's nice to have a piece of software that's more than, just an updater, but actually can come to manage your device like this. That's kind of interesting. Now that we're all up to date, what do you say we go ahead and throw in this Chromatic updated version of Tetris? Fire it up. Wow, that's on like that. Okay. So this is like full color and I guess enhanced versions. These ModRetro games are enhanced versions of these games. So, okay, new player, sure. Oh, and you put in your name? Well, it's all kinds of stuff in here. Let's put in GXG, of course. And, oh, and an icon, oh, here, how about the little coin? That's cute. All right, done. Whoa, marathon, ultra, sprint, endless. All right, let's just try endless. What is all this stuff in Tetris? Holy moly, options? And by the way, not for nothing, let's go in the menu for a second, right? Because there are menu settings, like the screen brightness that you can adjust up and down. I'll leave it where it was because I kind of already adjusted my camera, but yeah, wow, okay. Sound effects, screen shake, ghost piece, so many. This is not just, hey, we made Tetris more colorful. Wow, okay, let's start the game. And can you hear the speaker? I know you can, but check this out. I have it turned down. Holy crap! And it's not too loud. I mean, it is too loud, but I mean, it's not getting muffled or distorted or anything. It's just loud as hell. Wow. Bring back down, son. All right. There we go. Hey, I can do something here. Put that in there. Okay. I don't know how well this screen is going to show up on video. In fact, let me zoom in a little bit on this screen. Now, I want to make sure you can see what I see, which is the pixel perfect accuracy. I only ever played other people's Game Boys. I kind of, I was in high school at the time. All my friends' little brothers had Game Boys, and I would play those. But or being on a road trip or something, I'm like, let me play it for a while, But I agreed to take a look at this because I'm just like, yeah, I like to see what new stuff is. But now I can see keeping this on me actually, which was not something I was thinking at the start of recording this video. I was like, this will be interesting, but it wasn't really my thing. And now I'm like, yeah, it will be interesting, and it is interesting. And it's something that I can see myself. I'll tell you what, it's not just Tetris, by the way. They sent me up one of their more modern Chromatic games, not just a revamp of Tetris. Let me show you this. When ModRetro offered to send me the Chromatic, they also said, hey, I know Tetris is included, but pick any one game from our library that most interests you as a player to check out. And so I chose this thing, Wicked Plague, which, by the way, really pretty box. That's really cool, have the rainbow across it. It's a little mini Metroidvania. Stunning visuals, Metroidvania adventure, challenging boss fights, chiptune soundtrack, all that. And I like Metroidvanias. Of pretty much any type, so I thought, let's give this a try. In addition to the game, these also come with teeny little charms inside of the box as you kind of collect them. Let's see. So here's what comes in a box when you buy one of their original cartridges. So of course, in the box, here's the cartridge. This one is a clear cartridge. Oh, look, you see the board in there. Kind of neat. Here's a full color manual. Shows you through the game, understand how to play. And then here's this little charm, which I just made the epiphany that you could hook it on the edge of the Chromatic, the little, what I said, you could put a wrist strap here. You could put the game you're currently playing. In fact, I'm going to put this on here. There we go. A little elastic there, and it's hooked right on my Chromatic. So now let's get Tetris out of there, and let's put in Wicked Plague, because I'm really interested in seeing what they do when they do an original game in here. And there's my little, it's a little rattly, metal on metal, but that's okay for now. And in we go. Let's fire it up. Robot Meadows. All right. Ooh. All right. Turn it up a little bit so you can hear it. Press start. New game. Continue. All right. My head hurts. How I hate that old man. He said it will be simple. Your first solo mission. It's a scolding. You can't drink before work. I don't even know where I am. Hello? Oh. Press select to heal. Press select to use a band-aid and heal. Use it wisely. Okay. Get more band-aids by defeating enemies. All right, so that was a band-aid that I picked up. Oh, yeah, exploration. Press B, lighter. Press up and B for gun. Okay, all right, let's see. So I have, and then up and B for gun. Oh, and shoot, okay. Let's shoot that door. No, let's head down here. So come on down. Oh. Got him. Whatever that is, I'm shooting it. Get it closer. There we go. Got him. Have you seen these zombies? A few, but they're not corpses. What do you mean? The presence of a necromancer was confirmed. So this is a full, fleshed out lore and everything kind of Metroidvania. Is that another Band-Aid? Yeah. So, so here's the press up to interact. An icon appears above objects to be interacted with. Press up to do that. Okay. Mostly found vending machines and checkpoints. All right. Great. Checkpoint activated. That's what that one was. Great. Now when I die, I'll be in better shape. Ah, there's stuff in the water. Oh, it's timed. Okay. This is definitely my kind of game. This is great. And having a little handheld like this, I dig it. I hit start. There's the map. Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy's about to hit me, but... So in the pause menu, we have the map. We see where we are. There's your inventory. This guy. All right, get hurt a little. Shoot them. Oh, nope, I got killed again. We'll go to the main menu. That's a lot more than I was expecting from something celebrating the Game Boy, to have games that are this nicely put together, this modern, but in such a cool little shell. Wow. You know, I really did not expect to come out of this video with a new handheld Metroidvania that I absolutely is going to consume my time like this wicked plague, but that's where we ended up. And really, everything about this video is about surprises. I wasn't expecting to end up with a handheld that automatically made me start going, wow, what other titles are available for it? There's just something premium about this little Chromatic that I really wasn't expecting. I have to have my old man glasses on because the screen is the exact same size as the Game Boy would have been. So now if you're a fan of the Game Boy or Game Boy Color games, it's likely that you have researched products like this in the past. I mentioned before the Analog, which came out some years ago, and it is a very nice device, but across the board, everything I look at on their little chart, the Chromatic, it matches or supersedes what that device can do. Now, this is still a premium device and fetches a price commensurate with that, which you'll see if you want to look at the description. I'll have a link down there where you can go and research this. But what you end up with is something that's way beyond just a play my Game Boy thing, right? It has the IR links for some games. It has the app that runs on your computer that lets you update and back up, and it's just the theme of this video is all I was surprised with what this little gadget has to offer. So yeah, let me turn it off so that I can get to editing this video, because it's not going to edit itself, or I'll just be playing this this Metroidvania all day. Look, I'm going to throw links to some other videos I've done recently. You can click on now, or my shoulders here and here. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video. I can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.